Welcome back to another episode of We Didn't Read the Fine Print Momcast. We're live! Today we have a special guest, Mr. Gary.
Mr. Gary Jones, our favorite guest.
Our favorite guest from Surviving
Today
LLC. But you know how we do. We're going to do our mom check-in. Hey, Mom.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Teddy.
What's going on,
I gotta
girl?
turn around. I don't like that. I can't really see your work.
I know. It's okay.
I gotta turn around. Mom checking with me. I'm good. I've been experiencing wild things lately.
Yes.
You know, just
Same life.
Yeah, same life. Same life, different
time.
page. Same life, different page, but I really can't complain about nothing. And if I did, you know, wouldn't get me nowhere. Nobody would care anyway. But what's up with you?
Remember what I was saying? Like, I hated my job. I wanted a new job. I done got a job offer, girl.
Okay, Teddy.
New job offer. I'm excited about that.
You really do speak stuff into existence.
You always say that.
You do. You
so
really
we're going to
do.
be rich. We're going to be
Rich.
millionaires. We're going to be
Rich.
multi-millionaires. We're going to speak that into existence.
Yes.
But other than that, I'm happy. Definitely lifing with these.
Okay.
But, you know, it is what it is. So, yeah. How you doing, Mr. Gary?
Hey, Mr. Gary.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing?
We good.
Happy to
How's
have you
life
back.
been?
It's good to be back, y'all. It's good to be back, and I just want to say congratulations to y'all for y'all first live. I mean, this is awesome.
Thank
know?
you so much.
But I'm doing good.
Thanks for
Doing
always
good.
supporting us and showing
Always,
up for
Mr.
us,
Gary. You really do. You show up every
We love
time.
you
Every time we
down.
call Mr. Gary, yeah,
Love
come on,
you, too,
dude.
Mr. Gary.
I got y'all.
Yeah.
We love
Don't
it.
worry about it.
So tell the people where they can find you for people who
Yes,
this is
introduce
like,
yourself
yeah,
to
introduce
the
yourself
people
all
that
over
don't
because
know.
everybody don't know, but they want to know.
Right.
All right, folks. Hello. My name is Gary Jones, and I'm a therapist, licensed clinical social worker as well, in the states of Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland. I guess I've been doing this for maybe about 15 years or so now. Feels like 40, to be honest with you. But I mean, you know, when you're doing the job, when you're doing something that you love to do, you know, you enjoy it. So, basically, I'm based in the Philadelphia area. As far as myself, personally, I'm a husband, father, grandfather of 4, and that's really what I like to lead with because that's me, and you can take everything else away, you know. But that's me. That's my life. You can't take that away.
Yep.
Unless they don't like me no more. Now, if they don't like me anymore, if they stop liking me, then that's a problem. But I mean, no. Generally, that's for me. That's the most important piece. Yeah, I mean, and I'm just here, you know, to answer whatever questions I can answer, and just to be a total cut up.
You're
But,
so
you know,
modest.
that's it.
You're so modest. All right, we're going to jump right into it. So the topic today.
Building the bridge. So we're trying to build the gaps between moms and fathers because in today's society, we got a lot of single mothers or single fathers, just single parents, period. And we just trying to figure out where the disconnect comes in and how we can like navigate through that so we can have the nuclear family dynamic in today's generation. So speaking of, you mentioned that, you know, that's all that you have is your family or whatever like that. And I feel like a lot of times in today's generation, our generational period, whether it's men or women, a lot of times don't see like the
dynamics of that role from a man.
never experienced it, but then also don't know the importance of like your family is your rock. Like that's your solid, that's your foundation. Like everybody chasing money or they chasing fame or they chasing something other than like something substantial or like, you know, with meaning or like with some depth, because you can lose your money, you can fame, what's really fame, but like your family is your core, is your foundation. That should be like the goal.
Your
I feel
purpose,
like
too.
yeah,
Yes,
you know what I mean. So I wanted to start off by speaking about how when people are together initially before a child comes in, everything is happy, is
Yes.
beautiful, they vibing, everything's good. And then when a baby come, you see a lot of people breaking up. And it's like, well, it seemed like everything was cool. And then the baby got here and then now everybody just breaking up. And it's like, well, this is the most important part, right? So why walk away on it now? So on my input, I just wanted to say, before you can give your clinical answer, we was going to give our input on it first.
Okay.
So my input was just like, I feel like during postpartum, sometimes, a lot of times the men don't know how to navigate their women through that stage, that phase through life, because of course they're not in our body, so they don't know firsthand of how we're feeling emotionally, physically, mentally, all of the things. And they're also going through, I don't know if it would be called postpartum for them, but they're also going through a change in their life as well that we wouldn't know about either, because we're not in their bodies to know what they're going through mentally, physically, emotionally. So I just feel like a lot of times just the partners, period, don't know how to show up for each other. Like, and then I also want to say a village. Like, when people say that it takes a village to raise a child, it really takes a village to raise a child, because you need more than just your man to like show up for you, because he's going to get drained too. And
Yep.
like, it's always going to be like an imbalance. Like, it's either going to be more on him or more on her. And then it's going to like conflict in the relationship, because somebody feels like they're doing more, or like they're being like just drained, just, you know, their cup is just running empty and nobody's pouring into it. So that's when I feel like the village will come in and, you know, help out in whichever way that they can. But I do feel like in my opinion, a lot of relationships, you know, split after the baby comes because of postpartum. And I feel like a lot of times men are not savvy to the things that women are dealing with in that postpartum state. Like, it's really something that's uncontrollable. Like, a lot of times, I remember my son dad had said something like, people just be wanting to go outside, or like just have their regular life, and that's why they be getting like postpartum. And even if that is like some truth to it, yes, having a child is life changing. So you're learning this whole new life in a different way. So it's just like, where's the grace? I feel like a lot of times we don't know how to give grace. We don't know how to be patient. And it goes for both parties. It's not just strictly for like the dads,
Definitely.
but you know, the moms too. Being patient on your your child's father, to allow them to learn how to navigate you through this new space as well. So that's just my input on it. Farrah, what do you think?
You know, I always go for people just don't deal with the stuff prior to them having kids, far as like just trauma and personal issues, mental, spiritual, whatever it is. People just aren't on the paths that they are meant to be on.
Right.
And then when you have a person like that, man or woman, mom or dad, that's not, you know, ready to face that, and you get a baby, and it's just like, this is the time. And it's like, they're not ready. So my biggest thing is like change. They're not ready for that drastic change, you know, whether it's mom or dad. Going into what Teddy said, for women, they might not be ready because we are mentally not capable of it, because we might be going through postpartum. We don't know what's going on.
Or what you need.
Yeah, and then sometimes it's communication. A lot of times it's communication, because sometimes I can tell you, like postpartum, you can't tell. I can't tell you what's going on. I don't really know.
Right.
I don't even really know how to articulate what's going on inside of me, because it's
New.
It's new, and it's a real thing. You really think you're going like batch crazy, when, like, don't you? Like, and the whole time it's just like, this is something you have to give yourself grace for, like you said, and just like kind of like vibe through. So I feel like it's the change, it's the communication, not dealing with your past stuff, and you got all that, and it's just like, okay, we got to do this now. You don't get that time to like catch up and be like, well, hold on, my finances, but you know that, you know, that 9 months really should be called get your shit together, because a baby is coming, and that's the time to get it together.
Before that.
Yeah, but okay, before that, but you know, it ain't happening like that.
At least
with
you do got
everybody.
9 months to figure
You
it
don't
out.
got 9 months, and it's just like a baby is here. It's like, we need finances, we need your mental, we need you here, and it's just like, oh, it's like so much to like, you know, grasp and like, you know, hold on to and be like, okay, I got it. Some people it's like already, you know, slipping and sliding before we get to that point,
Right.
and then you put them on a stage. It's just like, no, it's now, and I'm not ready. So I'm not ready, you know, mentally prior to that, and now I'm not ready for the load that I got now.
Right.
And it's a big load, right. So I feel like that's like the main factors. That's like the main factors, in my opinion, where stuff go wrong.
Right.
Well, first of all, I think that's a really good question. One of the things I would say is that there's no guidebook to it. Like there's no manual. Like how sometimes you get these books in the store that say dummies for for whatever.
Dummies 101.
Yeah, but life is not like that. The reality is that we probably should be talking about that the moment that we start, when we meet each other.
Yeah.
We talk about a lot of different things, the foods we love, we talk about the places we want to go, the music we like. But the baby is something we don't talk about. And I think we don't talk about it because we don't want to feel like we're pushing it, Sometimes we may not be even really be thinking that it's a probability.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times that I've spoken to people and they didn't expect it to happen. But the reality is that if you are engaged in any kind of sexual relationship, there's always that guarantee it's going to happen.
Right.
So the reality is I think that we need to start having that conversation early on in whatever type of relationship you're going to be in.
I like that.
If we're going, certain questions you should ask. Like,
Right.
How many kids do we want?
Right.
Shit, do we want kids?
Yeah,
Right.
do we want kids? Yeah, really, do we want kids? We assume the other person wants kids, but maybe they don't. And I think that if we start asking these questions early, what happens? Did you knock the mic down? Okay. Well, I think what happens is that you kind of get an idea, because what happens is that now you start to see, is this person aligning with what I want? So, because there's never anyone, no couple's gonna be perfect.
Right.
But there's things that you want, there's things that he wants, there's things that you're willing to bend on, and then there's some things you should never be willing to bend on. So now, if we're gonna have kids, what is that gonna look like for us?
Right.
How do we want to raise our kids? What religion? Where do we want to raise them?
Right.
Little questions that people don't ask, but
Before getting knocked up.
yeah, well, yeah, that but before you, but we should ask. These are questions that we should ask, and we
Right.
don't ask. So I think you guys said something about communication.
Yeah.
This is the type of stuff you want to ask questions. You want to know. You should come in with a laundry list, and especially if you've been in a relationship before. You need to come in with an idea of what you want, and that person should be able to answer those questions. And likewise, that person needs to come in with questions that he wants to ask you, because every man has an idea of what he wants. And the baby will change things, no doubt. So are we ready for the change? That's what I would say.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I
we're
agree.
not having conversations prior to, and that is very true, because half of the time, been a couple minutes since and that's the honest truth too.
That's
But now
true.
all the time, because then you have people that's married and they've been together for years, and then they have this baby, and they split or
Yeah.
it don't work out,
And
or
stuff just change.
stuff
'Cause
come
a
up.
baby does change people, but I think you have to want that. Like, you have to be committed to the change, to go through whatever the phases is. Like, you have to want it, because like he said, it's no book to be like,
Right.
so when this happens, this is going to be like this, and this how you gotta be. Like, no, you experience it in real time. So it's like,
I
is
think-
this something worth having?
And I think that's the key piece, because if you're committed, you're going to make the changes you need to make.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
having a baby will change your routines, what you can do, what you can't do, what you can do right now, what you might have to do later. But if you're committed to that person, you make the changes.
Right.
Because you love that person enough that you will do what you need to do to make the change,
Right.
or at least try to make the changes.
Right.
So it is about communication. It is about change. What are you willing to change and to do to make sure that you have a successful parenting experience?
Okay, question. So if a new couple just had their child or whatever, and they're like going through like some rough patches because they just learning how to navigate it, and they came to you for help, what were like some of the first things that you would say to them to try to like get them to navigate it, or like what would be your method for them?
I think that one of the first things that I would want to do with that couple is try to get them to understand where they think the problems are. Because, see, you might think it's one issue, or it might be one issue for you, but for him it might be another issue. So now once we're clear about what the issues are. Now let's see what the solutions are. Okay, so like if an issue is you're with the baby all the time and you feel like you need some me time. All right, what do we need to do
Right.
to help you get that me time? What changes do I need to make
Right.
to help you to get what you need to do? So I mean, it's about being clear about,
Yeah.
first of all, even understanding what it is that we're having problems with.
I like that.
Yeah, and I feel like too. We're gonna go to the next one. After the baby, there's some things we overlook that we need for each other, like like that you may not be getting. You know what I'm saying? Like for not to down on men, but a lot of times men is what.
Go ahead, girl.
You might not be putting out around the time, or you might stuff change with us, so you might not be getting it. And I feel like you got to be prepared for that too, and that's a big thing to go to big change too. Different things change,
Serious
like
body changes. I don't look like the same woman that I was when you was hot and ready for me, and now I look a little different, and you like,
Well,
you know what I mean?
so once again, these are the things we need to talk about, because the reality is that there are going to be changes. I mean, you're right. I mean, there are going to be changes. Once again, how do I adapt to that change? How do you adapt to that change? I mean, babies, I love babies, but they
Right.
will change your life, and they do change your life. But the question is, once again, what do you have to do? So one thing I think that couples miss is they stop being a couple. They become parents,
Right.
but they stop being a couple.
Yeah, no more date nights.
Right,
and-
So there is that point where you got to learn how to, obviously, I mean, you don't have a choice but to be a parent,
Right.
but you do have a choice about whether or not you want to continue to be boyfriend, girlfriend, boo, bae, whatever you want to call it. You have that choice. And so there are some things that you need to do, you things that you got to do to keep the spark alive,
Right.
and those things may change after the baby is there. So are you willing to listen to what she says, to what he says?
Right.
Are you willing to
communication.
to make those changes? And the reality is, a lot of times we don't think we need to make changes.
Right. No, that's the truth. Going back to like my situation, remember, that's how Gary lesson. Our first session, it was just like, all right, we go in there like, all right, we need this for communication for the baby, and it's just like, whoa, you said that about me? I'm not ready to hear that. That change is not, ready to come. So going back into changing stuff is not ready, but this is the real question.
Oh, okay. Wait, let me hold
Hold on.
brace myself here. Okay, all right.
Is it ever a time or where you say, okay, it's getting a little too toxic, it's too much, this is when to throw in the towel? It's just, of course I'm going to lead for me. I would say if it comes unsafe for the baby, or if the baby is like, there while you, whatever, if it's arguing, fighting, or just whatever.
Not a healthy environment.
Yeah, not a healthy environment. That's what I would say.
I would say everything that you just said is probably the perfect time to think about changing that relationship. So changing a relationship, there's a lot involved in that. It's not just walking out the door. Like I've counseled a lot of women that have been in domestic violence situations, and if you've never been in that situation, the first thing people will say is, well, I don't see why she didn't just leave.
Yes.
But it's not always that easy. You got to deal with personal feelings. You got to deal with finances. You got to deal about where you going to go. If I leave this man, where am I going to go?
Right.
And there's other things that you would have to worry about too. But I would say if the relationship is toxic,
Yeah.
and toxic is everything that you guys said. If you're getting beat up on, if you're constantly screaming and yelling, and if it's coming to a point where you guys are not willing to work it out, talk it out, maybe meet with a therapist, or go somewhere or talk to someone that can kind of mediate the situation. And if you're in danger, or your baby is in danger,
Right.
I mean, I advise you to leave.
Right.
Now, by whatever means necessary. So I think that we have to ask ourselves: is the relationship repairable?
Right.
There are sometimes when people talk and they talk it out, they might be able to repair the relationship.
Right.
They might be able to see where both sides can make changes.
Right.
And then there are some times where the other person is just not going to see it
Right.
that way.
And
they're
we're
not
going
gonna
to be
change.
clear. We're going to be clear, guys. Just because the relationship doesn't work out and you're leaving doesn't mean you're leaving your child. It doesn't mean you just have to stop and up and do things in the like that you was doing for that child. It's not because you get a new relationship, you done found a new family, or you didn't on to the next. That is still your responsibility. It's because I feel like a lot of men, some women, a lot of men tied it into like, okay, well, we're not together no more, so this is not my problem, or this is like X, Y, Z. It's like a way out, like, ooh. But it's like, no, you still have to deal with what's going on in this dynamic.
Well, I mean, one of the things I think that we confuse is that we think that if we're not in a relationship, we're not in a parental relationship.
Right.
You're still parents no matter what happens.
Right.
So you're still responsible to be a part of that child's life.
Right.
Now, the reality is that, you know, for some men, some women can make it difficult for that man to do that. And then the flip side of it is some men just don't want to be a part of it. You know,
Right.
like you said, they'll get to that point where if you're not going to let me see my child or whatever, et cetera, you know, then I'm just not going to do anything.
Right.
I would say to all of my brothers here that you leave a legacy for your child.
Right.
You're going to leave a legacy. That legacy is either going to be positive, or it's going to be negative.
Right.
And it doesn't really matter what the mother of the child does. What does really matter is what you do for that child.
Right.
A lot of parents can learn to be or continue to be good parents and to do what they need to do for the child,
Right.
but they may not necessarily be a couple. And I think that's where the difference and that's where the divide is. You know, we don't necessarily have to be in a relationship, but we still gotta take care of this child.
Yeah.
Find a way to work together to take care of
I
it.
agree, Gary. I agree.
I feel like we kind of jumped ahead with the postpartum because I want to bring it back to
Go
like
ahead,
even before
Tam.
that.
Okay, come back.
Like just as people, period, like before, like yourself, like personal self, like, and in relationships, right? I feel like a lot of times, like people be going through trauma or whatever, or they just say, like, you know, people just got trauma and then they get into a relationship, and that's really when unresolved trauma come out. When you in a relationship, when you being intimate with somebody, when you have like a close proximity with somebody else, that's what different things that like you dealt with start to show that if you haven't like addressed it, it starts to show in like your like closest relationships, right? And I feel like sometimes, like when people aren't validated in that experience, like say if you know all your life you never felt like you was heard, like you always was trying to like say certain stuff but you never felt like you was heard or whatever, and then you get as an adult and you having a conversation with somebody and they hear you're saying, you're making your point, they hear you, they talk to you, okay, I acknowledge what you're saying, but then like just because I acknowledge it don't mean that I agree. And then I was to go and say like my difference of opinion and what you're saying, and then now it's like a shit show because you don't feel validated, or you feeling like I'm invalidating your experience, or you know whatever you're feeling because I just don't agree. So I guess the question that I'm asking is, how do or why do how did I word it? We wrote it down. It was like the validation thing.
Oh, postpartum.
No, not postpartum, just validation. I don't remember how I worded the question, but basically, like, why is it that if you're not feeling validated, or like if you're whatever the thing that you're feeling inside is not being like, I guess your inner child, the trauma, whatever, is feeling like it's just being washed over or not being acknowledged in the relationship, like you dump all of the other stuff on the other person that you're like dealing with. You know what I'm trying to say?
Trauma dumping.
Thing.
Not even necessarily trauma dumping, but like it's just like a shit show if like you're not being validated in whatever experience that you had.
So, all right, let me see if I can try to answer that. I think when we talk about trauma, there a lot of times trauma is unresolved. So what happens is that we bring it into the current relationships that we're in. Now, if they're unresolved, what's going to happen is that, yeah, you're going to feel every time that person says something, does something that triggers you, it's going to bring it back. Because that's what unresolved trauma is. Unresolved trauma is the stuff that never got settled. The trauma doesn't go away, but what you do with the trauma becomes important. You know, so learning how to deal with that. And all of us got trauma. Women, men, all of us got trauma. So what happens is that we're usually looking at probably two traumatized people that's trying to tackle that situation. So if you're saying something and that person doesn't seem to be hearing what you're saying, doesn't seem to be validating, even though that's the person you're talking to, it's probably you're hearing other people that haven't validated you, other people that didn't listen to you, other people that just kind of skipped over what you said. It wasn't really
So
important.
your
to
issue
them.
ain't even really with me, for real, for real.
The issue is not really with you.
Never
There is the surface issue,
Right.
But for both of you guys, there's an underlying issue, and even with the way that the guy might respond, there's issues there. We have to understand that men. I can say this as a man. We're dealing with three parts of ourselves. There's that inner child of us that wanted to be protected, wanted to be loved, wanted to be cared for. Sometimes that didn't happen. And there's that inner teenager, inner adolescence that now you're angry because that didn't happen. And so now you're trying to navigate your way through like what it means to be a young black man in this society. And then as an adult, there's the adult that's tired, tired of arguing. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of having to go through this with you. And the reality is that even though I'm with you and it seems like I'm going through it with you, it's just rehashing other stuff that maybe that I might have dealt with somebody else before you or someone else before that. Once again, all of this stuff that didn't get unresolved comes up.
Right.
So we try to sweep it up under the rug, but it really doesn't go nowhere. So now in a situation like that, what has to happen is that the both of you guys got to try to catch it. You got to see how you're hurting one another, and then you got to realize, okay, what can I do to stop hurting this person? And I need her to realize what she can do to stop hurting me.
Yes,
Because see, a lot of times our stuff comes out as anger.
Right.
But a lot of time it really is abandonment. It's a lot of times it's disappointment. It's all these things that as a man, I've been taught not to show you. Because if I show you, some of y'all are going to think I'm weak. And then you don't want me. I'm just saying.
This is true. This is true. I feel like that becomes a problem though, because if you have a man who just can't, open up and express himself, then like you said, it's a problem. Like we don't, because it's not going to be no change. It's going to be, and we're not professionals, so we can't help you. Because that's another thing. Like I feel like men and women is different. I feel like us, we gear towards the kids, and men naturally gear towards the women. It's just like you're looking for these women to be your saviors, and especially when we go back to when a baby come, it's just like, well, what about me?
Who's saving me?
Who's saving me? Because I still got these issues that I had before that, and now you just baby, and you was my go-to, or you was my light or whatever, my motivation, and I don't have that no more. So it's just like, I feel like men crash out like that too sometimes after baby.
And you're right. So I think that's the part where we have to be able to talk. We got to be able to talk. I have to hear what you say.
Yeah.
And I got to recognize that the baby being here, it changes the relationship, but it doesn't make the relationship a bad thing. It just means I got to adjust. I got to adjust to a third person being in the relationship. And a lot of times that's not what we want to do, or we don't realize we have to do. So I mean, once again, I'm going to say it comes back to communication. It all comes back to
that's what I was saying, Mr. Gary. You got to talk to each other.
What am I willing to hear? What am I willing to hear? What am I willing to say? what am I willing to change?
Right.
You know, because
And accept, because a lot of people just ain't
accept.
accepting that. You said what? Oh no, I can dig out something deeper about you, and it's not about a constant
tit for
battle.
tat.
And that's where we go to bridging the gap between men and women.
Yes.
It's not always attack. If I love you and I'm telling you something about you,
Right.
you should.
from
and
love.
It's from love. It's something in your heart should dig deep and be like, you know what?
But you know what? Here's the other piece of it, though. It's how we tell somebody.
That is very true. It's how you
That's
say
the
it.
other piece
we
of it,
fall,
so-
we fall short, women, a
Yes.
lot of times of how we say it.
How we deliver it.
How we
you 5
say
times
this, how we say this to the other
your ears.
person is going to be key. Because honestly, as a man, if you are screaming, yelling
Yeah.
constantly, I'm probably going to tune out after a while. You know? Yes, ma'am.
Half of the time when we're yelling, we done said it 30 times already.
And that's true. Now, so sometimes we miss it. Sometimes we do miss what you guys are saying. So I'm not disagreeing. But what the point I'm saying is that generally, when we get to a place where we are just screaming and yelling,
Yeah.
on either side,
Yeah.
we're gonna miss what, and then we don't want to hear the things that we really need to hear.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing. There are things that we need to hear. See, we got to understand why a person is screaming.
Yeah.
A person isn't screaming necessarily because they're upset with it, like what you're saying. Because I done told you this 30 times.
Frustrated.
I done told you that little Johnny needs some diapers. Okay? How many times I got to tell you that? You know? I done told you I'm tired. And I need he's been crying all day.
Yeah.
She's been crying all
That
day.
first year.
I done told you that first year. I done told
3
you
years.
that. And yet you get to go out with your friends
Okay.
and I'm
Whatever
stuck
you
here.
wanna do.
Okay.
And I'm stuck here. You know, so I'm saying these are the things that we don't always hear. And it's not just men, it's women, but sometimes we don't hear. But for us, we know we have to recognize that, you know, we still want to be able to hang with our friends. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
No, you should have a social life.
There's always has to be balance
yes.
in whatever we do.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That is very true. Going into balance, I feel like sometimes we're not able to even have that balance. Like I said, that first year is wild.
Them first, how old is gonna be? 2.5. The first 2.5 years is wild. Okay. I think it's just 5. What y'all saying? 5, 10.
Okay, these numbers are going
17.
up now.
Okay.
These numbers keep going up. Right?
Like, it's just rough, period, because it's just a new experience. And like every level you get to is a new experience, whether they're newborns, whether they're toddlers, whether they're teenagers, whether they're young adults, anything. I'm pretty sure my mom can attest to her experience with me and my parents, period. My mom and my father can be like, I remember when she was this way, but now her at 30 with a child, oh, she is this, or like she is that. You know what I mean? It's always going to be a new phase that you're like adjusting to as
And
a
I think,
parent.
and I think that's the key, because once you get used to the 2-year-old phase, then the 3-year-old phase come.
Yeah, it's
You
always
know,
something.
When you get used to the 3-year-old phase, then there's the 6-year-old phase.
Yeah.
Then they're
always
teenagers.
new.
Don't
And
talk
there's
about
al-
them teens.
and
Woo.
then- and always change.
Them teens
If my wife, if she was here, she would vouch for me on this. We have one daughter. I don't know why I thought. Well, yes, I do. I thought it would be easier to raise a girl child because, yeah, right.
I understand.
I thought it would be easy to raise a girl child because growing up as a man, I didn't really have positive male role models in my
Right.
life. So I figured, okay, you know what, might be easier for me to do that, etc. All right, yeah, that was wrong. That was not as easy as I thought it was going to be. And when my daughter got to be about 12, 13, out of that cute little stage,
Right.
you know, and she got
And
mouth
she's smelling
on her.
herself.
She had mouth on her, right? And my wife and I, we're saying, Lord Jesus,
Yes.
we didn't know that you wanted her to come back home to you this early.
Yes,
You know?
because I've been a teenage girl, right?
But-
Daddy,
but,
you done gave your
but-
parents
but
a little
thank you.
run.
Hello.
Thank you for allowing us to have her for the 13, 14 years that we
No,
had her.
that's exactly when it starts.
Time to give it back.
Now start.
Give it back.
I'm a
That's when it
killer.
start. Oh my gosh.
But what I'm saying all that to say is that, now I'm speaking mostly from a father's perspective, Now, my wife caught most of the hell. Okay.
Oh, wow. See, it's always different.
She did. And we, the three of us, we laugh about it now.
Yeah.
Okay. You know.
And how old is your daughter now?
She's 34 now.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah. So
through.
but she don't know how close she came to being on a milk carton. I'm just saying.
No, seriously.
But the point was that I think as a man we do miss the point that you guys, there's a special thing like society just expects you guys to do certain things. This is a whole thing for you guys that you're supposed to do. It's like it's a given.
Yes.
So I think that sometimes for men we don't realize that we still got to do some stuff too.
Yeah.
And so I think that when we miss that, we miss the things that you guys are saying. And I think sometimes it comes out as being complaints, but it's not really a complaint. It really is one of those repeated, I really need your help on this.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes we miss it. And sometimes we get it, but a lot of times we miss it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and vice versa. It's not always
Right.
this that, but like, and then I'm gonna go back and talk about that because you say your daughter gave your wife
She did.
a run. It's always different with girls because I gave me and my dad was bumping heads. What about you? Me and my dad bumped heads so bad, so I was like, you know what, my little young self, I was like, I'm gonna go stay with my sister. I can't take her no more.
No, me and my dad didn't bump heads growing up. Like me growing up, we had a very
It's always
cool
different.
relationship.
Sometimes it's mom, sometimes it's dad.
I probably definitely gave my mom a little bit more run, but I don't feel like we was like I've seen some bad relationships between
Oh no,
people
it was
and their
not
parents.
bad.
It wasn't
appropriate, the normal, like normal
Yeah,
stuff.
just a normal
Not sexual-
teenage.
Yeah, not normal. You
My mom probably caught it more because she was more the
Oh,
one that's
wow.
gonna call me like whatever. Like they probably would have had a conversation. He might have asked her like, where is she at? But she gonna be the one to call and be like, where you at? You know what I mean?
So
And
in
so
all-
whatever my response is going directly to her, opposed
Right.
to like my dad.
He
you know?
hide in the background. He,
Right. So
he was hiding. He was trying to
in
pull the
all
punches.
fairness, you know, good cop, bad cop.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I was definitely the good cop. I mean, I'm just,
Always.
you know,
It's always like
I
that.
was the
That's
guy, you
normal.
know, that's my mini me and whatever we do the thing. But
Dads are
you know,
fun, and the
Yes.
moms got to be
But
serious.
see,
and
but
stern.
what,
That's
but
how
what
it is
we,
with Kobe.
but what we learned was that we were getting manipulated early on, and we didn't realize it, and then we had to learn how to become a team.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and then once we learned how to become more of a team, then it wasn't as bad because we just learned how to play off of one another and just kind of work together with it. So yeah.
You know what? It wasn't my dad. It was my brother. We would bump heads all the time because he was like mini daddy.
Okay.
Oh.
He was the one like, she talking on the corner with this boy.
So your dad was
Like-
didn't see it.
You know what I mean?
Recorded.
But that's how he raised his sons to be. Like, well, they both did raise us all to be like protectors of each other. You know what I mean?
it.
So,
And that's what we are.
And we were so close in age, and like we ran together. So right, he would see it firsthand, opposed to them seeing it, because they in the house, and
Right.
it's not like how it was back then. It wasn't no social media, it wasn't none of that. So we just outside doing whatever, and he
Right.
would be the one to be like, "Get in there, nigga, let me out there. This my sister." Like that was him. That was my,
And see,
my brother.
that's what we are. Men are naturally protectors.
Yes.
That's what we're raised to be. Now, I think what happens is that we don't always learn how to balance that out, and then that can become a problem sometimes.
A lot of times. Sure. That's why I say it's so difficult to find balance. Most times because sometimes you don't even know you need balance. Sometimes you're not capable to even grasp balance at first. Like I said, that first year was like super rough for me as far as everything. Like I feel like you're like literally going crazy. It's like, all right, I want to work out because you want to continue your normal life, and that's where the gag is because
It is
no
normal life to
life.
continue.
That life is bye bye.
Yeah.
Never gonna see it again.
Is you having to figure out what this life is now.
The closest you get
And how do you do that?
the closest you get to that old life is like going to the store by yourself when they're like young, like
Or going to work.
Going to work. Like, why is that a part of the
I hate work.
manual? Yes, but it'd be like, oh, I be going to work. You'd be like,
A little
ooh.
sense of normalcy is nobody in the back seat.
Yeah. Sometimes I'd be like, oh, was he back here? Like,
Okay.
traumatized and shit. Like he
You
always
slammed
back
on the
there.
brake, you like looking back
Yes,
like, oh shit.
Yeah, so it's like you sometimes it's hard to find that balance, but that's why I feel like bridging the gaps between moms and dads,
It's
men
so
and women,
important.
is so important to have each other's back, because I need
We
a
need
break.
each other.
Yeah, we really need each other, and that's another thing that I feel like is why we so divided, is because we got this thing. Society has got us fighting each other. Like, like a woman, well, I don't need you. I don't need just because you can do it by yourself do not mean you don't need that role of a man there. Like
Yes.
we
You need balance.
You need that balance, and that's a part of balance. We are made with men and women, and
Yes.
that's how God created it, and that's what we need, both of them. Go ahead.
And I think that some of this is historical, because I
Yes.
think what has happened is that in this country, because our ancestors in this country were enslaved,
Yeah.
and let's think about what that meant. What
Yeah.
that meant was that we had no control over our families. As men, we had no control over our families. At any
Right.
particular time, we could get sent somewhere else. Our families could be, split up, and even after slavery, when we look at the Jim Crow laws, the black codes, and all of those type of things, segregation. When we look at those things, what we see is that a continual taking the man out of the house, okay, and then the woman being mostly there to have to take care of the children. And what that does is that develops this strong black woman dynamic.
Right.
And by all means, most of the black women in my life have been very strong women. But you're strong not because you want to be strong.
Yeah,
Yes.
you have to.
I don't
You're
want to be a strong black
I mean, no, not that you want to be weak, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But you're strong because life doesn't give you any other alternatives but to do those things. So now what happens is that you develop that mentality, which is good on the surface, but then the problem is that it's hard for some men
To come in.
Yeah.
because
And lighten
some
the
women don't know how to let that happen.
soft.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock.
Right.
I'm not saying that as a knock. I'm just saying that historically, this is how we've been reared to be.
So because that is a thing, like that's a real thing that this country has literally set it up for black people to fail. And that's in finances, relationships, like all of the things,
Definitely
right?
family dynamics.
So especially the nuclear family, where even like the commercials now that they play, it's never like two black people and a child. It's always like a black person and a white person and like this little mixed kid. It's never like, and there's nothing wrong with. I'm not Dr. Umar up here. I'm just saying you don't even see it like being advertised as like the black mom, the black dad, and the black child.
Like programmed to see
it's
it
a
like that.
program
That's
to
cool,
like
that's-
literally
yeah.
make you not think that like this is a normalcy
Right.
of having a mother and a father and the kids
Exactly.
in the same household.
And you would think, if you follow that train of thought, you would think that there are not like very little families,
Right.
Of with in black families where there's a nuclear,
When it is a
father,
lot.
mother, and children, and there are a lot.
Yeah, they
Yes,
are.
It is.
But society doesn't tell you that.
It don't,
No.
and it don't show you that
Because they don't want you to go custom to that, just like social media. The
Yes.
social media, even
They shadow ban certain
Oh my
things.
gosh,
They
yes.
just, it's programmed for you to see the algorithm is set up for you to see certain specific things like people fighting and like just like
Yes.
violence of like bad people being these horrible monster predators and all of that. But I said all that to say, with the fact that that is really a thing that the nuclear family was taken away from us or whatever for that. That alone should let us know that it's work that us individually, like all of us individually, women and men, need to do within ourselves to
Yes.
get back or like just
Exactly.
unlearn a lot of the things that we were programmed, not even by our parents, but just from society.
Yeah.
Like there's work that needs to be done because it's generational curses. You're passing down the generational traumas from your grandmom or great grandmom having to be the strong black woman in the house because maybe the dad ran off, or maybe the dad had to be like, the nurturer and the provider, and like that kind of got crossed. Like, so there's always going to be some sort of trauma passed down. So there's in you, whether you're the first generation, second generation, last generation, it's work that needs to be done. There's things that need to be unlearned. It's not a bad thing. It's not to
It's
say
not
that
something to
you're
shy
not
away
good
from.
enough.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
It's not to say that you're not good enough. It's not to
I
say
hate
that like
therapy.
it's not to
I
say
don't
that
need
like
that. We
you
all
know,
need it. We all
that like
come from a
your
bad
people
line.
didn't do well raising you. People could have done a phenomenal job for what they had. But two things could be true at once. You could have done a phenomenal job, and it could have been things that was lacked. That don't make you a bad person. That don't make the situation negative or like a bad thing. It's just what it is. So with this information, what can we do to move forward to bring this back around, to make this whole? So when I have children and my children have children, like they can see a different way than what all that we had.
So we got to be willing to learn a new way.
Right.
And I think that's the difficult piece. So, I mean, I don't even know if we answered your question as far as like the about the like the postpartum. I don't know.
Yeah, we offer that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if we had not, because we kind of going. But
That's what I'm saying. We started ahead of the game. We should have started here first and then went to postpartum. But it's
we
cool.
here now, baby.
But I mean, we have to be able to say to ourselves that we don't understand everything.
Yeah.
And we got to be willing to learn. We got to be willing to say to our partners that, yeah, I don't know everything. Please help me. Please show me, you know. And I think the other piece we got to know is that sometimes the relationship will end, but okay, we don't have to be friends. We do have to be friendly enough to make sure that our children are going to be healthy.
Yep.
And I think that's the difference, because sometimes people think that, well, we got to be together, and if we're not together, that's the end, which is, I think, what you guys are basically saying. And that's not the case,
No,
though.
it's not. That's not
the
end
case.
all, be
You know,
all,
that's
no.
not what we want. That's not the end result. You know, you want to be able to parent together in a healthy way so that that child gets a healthy outcome. You know, like what I was saying earlier, you know, especially as men, we leave a legacy. You're going to leave a legacy, whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
And
Right.
either your son or your daughter is going to say, I had a great father or a great mother, or I didn't have a great father and I didn't have a great mother. And when they're old enough, that's their decision making. You know, so sometimes we say, well, I know she told him to say that, or he told. No, that might be the case in some cases, but that child gets old enough to recognize they're going to make their own decisions.
Yeah, very
Because then they're going to see you for what you really are. So the reality is, what are we putting in our kids so that they can be able to? So once again, we're going to leave a legacy. My parents, my father, my stepdad, my grandfather, they left a legacy. And I had to learn not to do the things that they did. They tried, but I had to learn to do what they didn't do.
Right. Because
That was
they, like we said, everybody don't have the tools. We are
Right.
so far behind. Even when we just from day one, we so
Yeah.
far behind. We
Exactly.
don't know. We just catching up. So
Exactly.
it all comes to just like, all right, we all need to get it together because we all need each other. Back to I was saying, we all need each other.
need each
Men need
other.
women, women need men.
Yes.
And when it comes to even relationships, we need
Right.
each other
Yes.
because we both got to lift each other up. We both lack in different places, and that's
Right.
what we are designed to do. Men and women.
That's where
Yeah.
the balance is formed.
Yeah.
I bring what I'm good at, you bring what you're good at, and we merge that together and be great together.
Exactly. Exactly.
But again, I still feel like, every individual has to look into themselves even before you get into a relationship, because sometimes it's hard to grow with a person. Like it works out for some people, then some people don't. Sometimes you grow with somebody and then you outgrow them. You realize that this ain't even it. After you then did all the work, you like, you know what? I don't even think.
But then what? Do you just give up on that person?
Yes, I mean,
Well, damn, girl.
not necessarily give up, but it's like
That's when it's time to
I'm
leave
not
for you.
holding you back. Like, if I've done the work and you've done the work, and even if it's one-sided, even like if you felt like that I wasn't who you decided that you want to do this thing with, or I decided that I'm not who you want to do this thing with, I don't want to hold you back. And I don't want you to hold me back either. Like, there's somebody for you, and it may not be me, and that's okay.
Well, let's be honest. Some relationships should never have started.
Very true. Yeah, very true.
Some relationships should never had started.
Yep.
You
Don't be
know,
trying to pull my toe.
we
my
looked
coat
at
up.
we looked at the eyes, the thighs, we looked
I'm
at the
cracking
size. we looked at a lot of different things, but we didn't, but we missed something.
We didn't ask those
Yeah.
questions that you said we need to
We didn't-
ask. That's
yeah.
very
So
important.
we missed something. So some relationships were never meant to even get started. So the reality is that some relationships have to end.
Right.
I mean, that's just that. So you don't ever want to give up on a relationship, but you got to recognize when that relationship is just not going to work
I
for
don't
When
you.
even
to
think
give
it's
up.
called giving up. I just think it's understanding that like
You were for some,
this
you
ain't
designed
it.
for somebody else, and
Right.
I'm designed. Yeah,
Gotcha.
because
Yeah.
it can be like core stuff that's just like, oh no,
We
like
just not
children.
aligned.
Like we're
Yes,
not
how
in
you
line.
wanna
Like children, that's
parent.
like a main thing. Like you don't
Right.
want kids, and I do, and then okay, well we try to work it out for each other. And you had this kid, and you be like, I really didn't want kids, and now and I
Exactly.
should have stuck to it.
And
Now
then
I
you
hate
mad,
your
you
ass.
feel stuck,
Yeah.
and it's just not good. And ultimately, everything is for the child. Once the child is here, it's about the child.
That's what we don't. That's what we don't focus on. So at the end of the day, our main focus should both be that child once that baby comes. Now that baby's going to get older, and we can get back to us, or we're going to have date nights and stuff like that where we blend together. But ultimately, that child is our first responsibility. And you would think it would be easy because we're both parents and we share this child, so our responsibilities should be the same. You would think so.
I thought you loved them just as much as I did.
Exactly. And then a lot of people can't even get to that because they still trying to figure out how to love themselves. It's very hard to love another individual, son, child, or anything when you're lacking that self-love. And it's not that you can love that person, but it's just that's not your focus. That's not your focus because
Yeah.
because you can't even figure out what's going on
You still
inside.
you still battling your own internal battle.
It's
so
depression is very real, and
how
a
can
lot
I
of
put that
people.
aside to be a great mom or a great dad when
Yeah.
I'm not even a great person to myself?
Right, and that's like that guilt that a lot of women and men have or whatever. Sometimes we feel like we are not like worthy, like, and we shy away. And then sometimes we feel like, oh, I don't got it together. I don't got this, so I can't be there for my child. It don't matter. The best gift you can give for your child is your presence. Like kids love
It's the
these,
put on
love
hold
them
for me.
What? They love you for
It's
forever.
the thinking that you could put
Yes.
your parenting, your whether you're mom or dad, is thinking that you can put your parenting
right
on
back.
hold while you go figure it out,
I'll be
and
right
then be
back.
like, all right, it's good now. Come on.
You know, the problem with figuring it out is that
You
by
never
the
did.
time you figure it out, your child is 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Now you done missed several years of that child's life.
Yeah.
So you come back into the child's life.
It should not take that long.
And they don't even know you.
I mean, I'm just throwing numbers.
Yeah,
out
I
there,
know, but
you know.
that's a real number. Sometimes your child be 21, but that's just
And-
horrible.
And so we come back into the child's life, and we don't understand why this child is not respecting us. You know, not really wanting to talk to us.
Yep.
I have a brother who has a son who is now like about maybe 24, 25. He wasn't there for him. There was circumstances, incarceration, some other stuff that was going on. But he doesn't understand why his son doesn't call him dad.
It's work to be done.
Yeah. But he doesn't call him dad because the man that was there with his mom
was like his
raised him.
dad.
You know, I mean, and he doesn't understand why his son doesn't really want to talk to him, doesn't want to call him. Once again, while we're out trying to figure it out, figure our lives out, you know, our children are getting older.
Yes. The time is
And
going.
so time is passing, and you might get enough time to get back into that child's life, get reconnected, be able to, you know, make the thing that needs to happen. But you might not.
Yeah, because I've been hearing a lot of stories when people be like, yeah, my dad didn't get it together till he was about 45, 50. It's like sometimes it take a long time, and some people never get it together. And I feel like opposites or whatever, I always say this, like I feel like men, for whatever reason, when they lack that, you know, love from their mom, and then, you know, vice versa, you know, that becomes like a real thing too, in like not just relationships and parenting and everything, because then it's just like I feel like you don't know how to bridge that gap with that, you know, opposite
With
sex
this
because
woman.
you never seen it and you didn't have it, so that's important.
You don't have the foundation.
Yeah, to be
With a
like
woman.
Yeah, even though I always say it's movies out here, so you see what you look like, but you know,
I just feel like as some point, and somewhere inside of you, you know what you want. Like, even if you don't know what it looks like, you know what you want. So it's like, if you come into a person that makes you feel like this is what I want with them, then it should be a little easier to try to like navigate that or figure that out. But I guess it's not.
No.
Even if it ain't like with me, like that's fine too. But nobody.
Girl.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. Okay.
Me either. Like, no.
No, I mean, and the reality is that in life, sometimes we just don't have answers. Sometimes we really don't have answers for it. But I mean, I really think that we are responsible for trying to get it together. We're responsible for trying to learn. I might not know, but I'm still responsible for trying to learn.
But they say it's not your fault. Like, whatever you went through in life or whatever cards you was dealt, it's not your fault that this happened to you or didn't happen to you. But it is your responsibility to make it right. To do better, to want to grow.
Right. And once again, I'm going to go back to legacy because your father, your mother might not have been the person that you wanted them to be. And see, we also got to remember your parents got stories.
They're people.
You know,
they're
your
not
parents
just
are
your
people.
parents.
They're not just your
humans.
parents.
We look at our parents and we say, man, they didn't do this and they didn't do that. But a lot of times we don't know the backstory of why our moms did what they did or why our fathers did or didn't do what they did. We know we don't always know the background that like with their parents or whoever their guardians were, because the reality is that we as people don't really talk about that kind of stuff. Like I partially grew up down south, and back then it was like you don't get in grown folks' business, and grown folks don't tell you what they did. You know, but the reality is that when you start hearing the stories, then you start to realize
You humanize them. You know, they're a regular human again, not just your dad or not just your mom.
You recognize that this woman that you might have an issue with, she's not just the 50-year-old woman that you're seeing, but she might have been the 15-year-old scared teenager that had a child. When you look at it from different angles, you get to see that there's different lenses here. You know, people went through different things at different times in their lives. So, but even with that, you're still responsible to get to know how to be right.
Yeah. Especially for your child, because it's like, and a lot of people, like, I feel like at this stage and age, repeating cycles is like the worst, because like you've been a child, you've seen with your dad or mother, aunt, uncle, because everybody's not raised by mom and dad, aunt, uncle, grandmama, whoever, did. Why repeat it? You know how it made you feel, like, why repeat it? Like what is that?
Well, I mean, I think what happens, that's what we see. And when we grow up and we see certain things, like, for example, if you grow up and everybody in the family is drinking, everybody is drinking, okay? So one or two things is going to happen. You're either going to be socialized to drink.
At 18.
Or you're going to be socialized not to drink.
First time I got drunk, guys.
Or you're gonna be socialized not to drink, you know,
right?
And that's part of what I think we have to see. So you guys are raising a good point there. The socialization, you know, plays a part in how we raise our kids. You know, because we can only we know what we saw, and sometimes that's the only way we know how to raise. Like, for example, if you were raised by a parent or grandparent that spanked you all the time, sent you out to get your own switch. You know, if you was that child, you're going to do one or two things, or maybe three things. Either you're not going to spank your child, either you're going to spank your child, or you're going to spank a little bit and then learn how to guide them.
Exactly.
You know. So, but it's based on what you see and what you think is going to work for you at that time in your life.
And a lot of stuff just be like lack of knowledge, like, cause a lot of like remedies and stuff, or stuff that they may have done that may have not been right, and we just didn't know, because go back to historic times, like you said, they didn't want us to know, or even if they did want us to know, we ain't had the resources to know, and it's just like, okay, we can't keep doing it like that. We have to change. Like, that wasn't right. Like,
And I think that's a good point. We got to recognize that we got to learn. I mean, we really. I know I keep saying it, but you got to learn. You got to learn what it means to be a parent.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't know when you become a parent. You don't know. I mean, you do not know what it's like to be a parent till you become a parent.
Yes,
that's
because
true.
You
man,
know.
I used to say some stuff about moms. So I became one. I used to, dads too. Well, dads too much change, but I used to. Just kidding. I can't even talk trash because I love my dad. So, but you know, I used to say like a lot of things. Like remember,
Me
like
too, girl.
our comments and such. We used to be like the whole thing
Why
about.
they ain't doing this? Get your kid.
Yeah,
why you
don't
ain't
want to
doing
go
that?
get your kid?
It's
You know what
like,
I'm
girl,
saying?
I got him all the time. You get him.
Why they out here drinking like that? I know why. Like, I know why they're out on Friday nights. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about every night, but I know why y'all out here on Friday nights. Because the week is hard.
Yes,
You got to get away from them kids. Like, you say
Sure,
so
for
much stuff that was just like,
Yeah.
how dare you now? How dare you? All right, so we're going to go into our icebreaker. We're going to go into our icebreaker.
Okay. So y'all kind of quiet. We want to
Yeah.
engage you. Look at Amber falling asleep.
So for this last half, it is about bridging the gap. So we're going to like base our, like Q&As on that. But we're going to ask you guys some questions for icebreaker. And I want moms and dads, men and women. I see we got some fellas in here. So our first question would be, Mr. Gary, you ready?
No. I'm never ready when it comes to you guys.
You're not, but you are the
I'm just-
bomb.com, though. You're
But
so
give it to me. I'm
honest.
ready. I'm ready.
All
Give
right.
it to me.
So, well, we're just going to pick somebody. We're going to let them see who want to choose.
Yeah, we'll read the question, and if you feel it can be more than one too. If you feel
Okay.
like you want to answer or
All right, so our first question is, what's something you wish the opposite sex would consider more when it comes to parenting? If you're not going to answer,
Don't
we're
be
gonna pick
scared,
one.
y'all.
Don't be scared, guys. You're not on camera.
But if you want to be on camera, you can come up and just say, no, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
What's something that you wish the opposite sex
would
consider more when it comes to
When it comes to
parenting? Or
parenting.
relationships.
So if you're a dad and
Yeah.
you know you got your child's mom, what was some things that you wish that they would have considered more when it comes to y'all parenting opposed to how they didn't? Or if you're a mom and you felt like, what was something? Okay.
Okay. Loud.
Okay, acknowledgement.
Acknowledgement,
Acknowledging
okay.
how
Yeah.
hard you putting in that work or, the sacrifices you gotta make. And it's just like, you supposed to be doing that. No,
Right.
motherfucker. Acknowledge me.
It feels good to be. It feels good to be acknowledged. Like I'm doing a
Yes.
good job, and that's something you won't think.
It's
like,
so small, but it's so big.
small, but it's so big. Because I'm over here busting my butt, and honestly, sometimes you don't see how good you're doing. People tell me all the time, like, you're such a good mom, you're doing it, and it's just like I'm drowning.
Yes.
Weird,
Like, am I
weird.
for real?
Like I'm struggling. Like I'm in a market, sweaty hair.
He
mess,
has no
like,
Pampers at the house.
Okay, listen, baby falling out and stuff, and it's like you're doing a good job, mom. It's like really, like I was at T-ball, and at T-ball they were just the moms came over, the little Caucasian mom came over, and they was like, you're doing such a good job. Like you're so patient. I'm like, I am. Mind you, that's just some stuff they didn't see because I done took them to the bleachers a couple times. But it's just like, that did feel good to have that
Yes,
acknowledgement. I
that
would never think that it
acknowledgement.
mattered because it's just like, a lot of times you feel like, I'm struggling. And especially the
Listen.
teen moms, I be hearing these teen moms, they be going crazy. It's like, you're doing a good job. Like,
Yes.
you didn't kill them, so. Like,
You're not locked up
You're
yet.
not locked up.
Even on Instagram, you know how they be having like these little posts and they be like, send this to a mom that did da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And people be sending it to me like randomly. It
Right,
don't even be like people
right.
that I talk to every day.
yes.
And I be like, what?
Okay,
That's
thank
so
you.
Nice.
Thank
So I
you.
feel that. Thank you, Amber.
Okay, what's another one?
Anybody else? What about somebody else?
Right. Then know the X and jump in.
Ooh,
Yes.
Now, see, I
love
like that.
I like that.
Because I think that I know for a lot of brothers that, we feel like you want us to read your minds.
Yeah,
Right.
right. We do
I
know, but
I don't know. I
Right.
mean, now there is a part that maybe I should know. I mean, and I won't say should know, but that, I mean, I should know you well enough that I can kind of get an idea of what it is that you need. But I'm going to miss some of that.
Yeah.
So the reality is that my ego needs to be strong enough that when you tell me, I don't get upset about it. Okay, fine.
Right.
If that's what you need, I'm going to go try to get it. Because I
Right.
think that we assume that the other person knows. You assume that I know.
Right.
And then you'll get mad at me
Right.
if I don't do
For
it.
not knowing.
You know?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that a lot.
Okay, let's hear from a guy.
Oh, can I just say one thing?
Yes,
I just wanted
Gary.
to say the lady next to your mom. I just wanted
Amber.
to say Amber. I just wanted to say that I agree with you to acknowledge what you do. You know that we're doing a good job, or just acknowledge that we're doing. We're here because a lot of times we feel like we're taken for granted sometimes,
Right.
and we don't want to feel taken for granted. Nobody wants to feel taken for granted.
Right.
So, you know.
Yep. Okay, Big Sonny. Okay, because when you invite the outside in, the outside is tampered with, okay? Now you
inside
done
is
threw
tampered
that
with.
dirt up on them flowers because you don't know what that person is going through and what they bring into, your stuff. Because
Yeah.
I can be upset because I'm just like, I
Life
ain't
is
got nothing going
crumbling.
over here for me, so I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck them.
And
Because
y'all have
that's
a
how I
very
feel about
small, minor issue, and now I'm just dumping my shit on y'all's because
Or maybe because stuff like that don't last. We might be having problems today, but not tomorrow. So let's fix it all together. We don't gotta, you know what I mean?
Now, when you say government, you mean? That's what I thought you meant.
Okay.
Oh.
That's what I thought you meant. Okay.
okay, let's talk about it.
I just wanted to be clear.
Hold on up.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
As a white system, as a European system, I shouldn't say white,
That's very true.
Right.
into our homes.
That's true, but
Agreed.
sometimes
What if it's
you
not a
don't have
home?
choice.
What if it's just you and the child? The dad's not around,
Yeah.
and he's out living his life, and I'm over here struggling because I can't afford to keep the lights on, and he's at Turks and Caicos.
But what if the father is around and
Okay, yes.
That's
Now
different. Well,
that
that's different.
I agree. Yes,
agree.
I
Yeah,
agree
that's
with that.
different.
Yes,
So I would say
yes.
both of y'all got two truths, and this is a situation where you can have two truths coming from two different angles.
Yep.
The reality is that there are some guys who just aren't there, not trying to be there, don't pretend to be there, but then there are guys that are there. There are some guys who are single fathers.
Yeah.
Yes, I know some.
That are doing the work. One of my friends that I grew up with, his first son, he was raising his son with him, or his mom was helping him, but he was there, and that was his thing. So you're right. The reality, if we're willing to work together, then I think that keeps
it's no
the third
need.
party out. That keeps
Yes.
the government out.
Yes.
The thing is that, but we got to be able to hear one another. We got to be able to hear what that person needs. So it means that we got to be able to put our pride aside, and that's both of us, men
Yes,
and women,
yes.
put our pride aside, once again, for the good of the child. What does that child need at this moment? And if we can do that, then we can make it work, and we don't have to bring the man into it. But the reality is that sometimes that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
and we just got to keep talking.
Right.
We got to keep communicating because that's ideal. If we can work it out, that's ideal.
Yeah. I feel like with the court, I feel like that's a last resort. It's like I can't do nothing,
Yes,
and
it should always be the last resort.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's just like I just woke up today and I just did it. But you're not helping me. I don't have a choice.
And also got to keep in mind, I think for the fellas, the court doesn't really work for you like that. Just be honest.
So show up. Show up, because when you don't, ching ching.
The court system is just
Diamond rings,
really
like-
not.
Damn.
It really doesn't. It really does not always favor the
At your
fathers,
settlement.
either good or bad.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, it just doesn't.
Yep. All right, let's
Okay,
go
yes.
ahead.
psychologist, do you feel as though we should have these talks before we sit down? Like, will you take me to child support? Like, the thing is, how is the person going to be with you if you're talking to them about a situation like that?
Wait a minute, are you asking me? I mean, asking them, are they going to take you to child support?
Do you think you should be having the conversations, let's say before you have a kid, like you said, finances. Like, are you going to take me to child support? Like, what does it look like if this doesn't work out?
That's a good question.
But you never really know how stuff's going to turn out.
I mean, you don't know. I mean, what I would say. So
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
what I would probably say to you guys would be this: is let's try to avoid getting to that place. Let's have a conversation that avoids talking about, well, what if we don't work out?
Right.
Are you going to take me to child support? Because what that does is that sets it up like, okay, we might even get to that point.
Right.
Let's not do that. I think what we need to do is, as parents, what are we expecting?
Right.
What would you expect from me as a parent?
Right.
What would you need from me as a parent? I mean, I think those are the conversations that I would say that would be more constructive and more positive and more healthy to have. Because I'm not setting the stage up to you like, hey, we might get there.
Yeah. Right.
There's always a possibility. Anything can happen.
Right.
But let's not
But-
have that conversation.
But to your point, though, I used to always say, like, I would never take,
Exactly.
my child's father to child support. Like, it don't matter, whatever. But then experience happens,
Yeah,
and it's
stuff
like,
happens.
Yeah.
damn, you just feel like you was dumped. Whatever the situation is, that it change your mind. I think experience may change your mind, because you can have those thoughts of like, yeah, I don't think we need to do that. But then the experience happened, and it's like, well, I kind of don't feel like I have a choice at this point. So it's like, what else am I supposed to do?
And some stuff, like, for us, like, you might have a conversation and experiences may happen, and experiences we can go to back to what we were saying, to like childhood stuff, like mom bad at communication. So, that could be my thing. So it's just like, I don't want to tell you that I ain't got it, so I'm going to fight you on this. I'm not doing nothing, this and that. Or it can be I didn't see that, I don't know that. So, I'm not doing.
You didn't see a man provide, you don't know how to provide.
Exactly.
Or you don't have it like
Or
that.
it
And
could
you
be a
don't want to
million
tell
things.
me that you don't got it like that, because maybe you feel less of a man if you say something like that. So now I feel like you're just not doing, when whole time you just don't have it to do. But how would I know?
If communication, that's what I'm saying. Going to a lot of things that we're not doing prior to that. And it may, we may say we never going to child support, we never going to custody, but stuff happens, and not stuff just happened. You already got stuff going on with you, and that's taking over, like you said, with the whole validation stuff and all that. That stuff plays a part. It's a lot of things that can like happen to go into why you got to court.
Right.
Yes, I
Absolutely.
don't think nobody wakes up to want to go to court. First of all,
You shouldn't. Now,
you shouldn't.
granted,
If you
it is
do,
some
it
women
people
out
who
here.
do it. Like, yeah, it is some people who just crack it up.
But you know what, though?
I'm hollering.
But you know what, though? Another dynamic to that is,
We got
there
rid.
are some kids that have grown, that have been in situations where their parents separated, and then they were in situations where there was child support that was given. So the reality is that your question is really a good question. I mean, I don't know your history. I don't know if you were in that situation, but it can become a good question, because if you were in that as a child, experienced that as a child, yeah, that could be something. I'm not sure how you would ask the question, so that it wouldn't cause too many issues, but it's also it's a legitimate question, in the sense of, I can understand how you feel, how a person might feel, because now you don't want, if I get into this relationship with you and it don't work out, yeah, are you going to do that? Because this happened to me when I was a kid, and my parents went through that, so there's some legitimacy there. That's all. I get. There's a whole nother side. I think a whole nother dynamic to what you said. Makes sense. And I'm gonna shut up there. Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay.
We usually,
Yeah. This will do it. Okay.
so we usually end the show with a
Blessing in disguise.
blessing in disguise. The time on the camera's running a little low, so we're going to go ahead and wrap, and then we can do our blessing in disguise and ask the dad another question.
Okay.
So thank y'all all for the support. Thank y'all so much
Yes.
for showing up for us. We love y'all down.
Love you guys.
We didn't read the fine print.
We didn't read the fine print. Come on, Mr. Gary. Yeah.